What's up, everybody? Welcome. Maru with the 200 bits. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, bro. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Mix Talk podcast, live cast. Our second ever. How's it going?
It's good. Welcome, everybody. I know usually on DJB's stream, he's the one that does a lot of talking. But today, you don't have to hear him talk as much. So you're in for a treat. Because I will be talking a lot today.
Mm-hmm. Rizaline is much better to listen to than I am.
Oh, gosh. Okay. But yeah, so this is our second Mix Talk episode. The first one was about a month ago, and we talked about mixtapes. So what Mix Talk is talking about things that are nostalgic, things that are part of pop culture, and not just in the past, because of course everything in the past also ties into things that are relevant to today. So we do have an awesome group of panelists here today to talk about our topic, which is gaming. And I think all of us kind of come from some different backgrounds with gaming, and I'm excited to hear from each person. So we'll go around and share 3 things about ourselves.
We gotta introduce the guests first.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know. We're gonna share 3 things about ourselves and then go into an icebreaker question, which is, what was your favorite game to play during recess? And everyone in the chat, welcome. You guys are welcome to participate. We want to hear your responses also. If you're on Twitch, then obviously you are into gaming in some way or another. So we will get the conversation going. First up, I would like to introduce you to Wifeylovesnerd. Round of applause.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Wifeylovesnerd. So 3 things about me. I am a baker. I have been baking for over 10 years. I am a mom of 2, a stepson and my son, so he's 8, and my stepson is 14. And 3, I do lots of crafts, sewing, jewelry making, t-shirt making, all kinds of different DIY crafts or anything I can get my hands on. So yeah, nice. Those are 3 things for me. And then, do you want me to do the icebreaker question?
Yes. What was your favorite game to play during recess?
So I want to say it was a game where, and to be honest, I don't even remember the name, but I know that it was like a square on the ground, or maybe it was 4 squares on the ground, and you would like toss the ball back and forth. And I know every time we played it, I got super excited, and I was like so excited to play that game. But I don't remember the name. Do you guys remember the name of that game?
We're gonna.
I think it was Foursquare, right?
Is it Foursquare?
It was pretty. I'm pretty sure it's called Foursquare. That's the one where it's like it's four squares, right? And then you have like the.
And it was like like a corner, like you stand in a corner of the square or something.
Something like that. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I remember playing that a lot in recess. I couldn't remember the name, or to be honest, don't remember all the rules, but I know that it was a fun game.
Nice. Anyone in the chat, if they can verify if it's Foursquare, let us know. Thanks, wifey. All right. And next we have our very special panelist, JohnnyFrickinRico. Round of applause.
Hi.
Woo!
How's everyone doing? Hi, chat. I saw It's Me Calvo out there. How you doing? So 3 things about me. Number 1, I have 3 boys, and all 3 of them are taller than me right now. It's a very depressing thing because I'm 6 foot and I look up to them. Even my youngest is like, go to your room, you know. Another thing about me, I like to go surfing, actually. I like to go bodyboarding, surfing. I haven't gone for a while, obviously, because of the COVID, but I can't wait to get back to Dana Point and go surfing over there.
Nice.
And another thing about me is I have to admittedly say I cry almost every time I watch the film The Orphanage.
What?
It's just every time. I just can't help it.
The Orphanage.
So if you want to watch a sad movie, but it's a really good movie. It's called The Orphanage. Check it out.
Oh.
Good to know.
Oh.
Good to know. Oh, and then what was your favorite game to play during recess?
I'd have to say dodgeball. Because when you're a young kid, your ability to show off your speed is like a big deal when you're real young. So like the only thing with dodgeball, you need 3 people. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing after the ball all day long. So dodgeball with at least 3 to 4 people. Yeah, it's nothing better when you're in elementary school. Definitely.
Nice. Nice. Thanks. All right. And then our third host, panelist, person extraordinaire is the incomparable, indomitable, wonderful Annie Talks. Young.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Oh, so good to see everybody in chat. It's me, Calvo Illusions, and Maru. Nice to meet you all. My name is Annie Talks, or Annie Talk Show, aka Annie Talks. I am a variety streamer here on Twitch. I have a Twitch channel as well. So, okay, 3 things. I have 4 kids and a granddaughter. So, I have twins at that. So that's one thing. The other thing is I love music, and I'm terrible at playing piano, but I can sing.
You're not terrible.
No.
Not
Good,
terrible.
Annie. Come on.
Oh,
You're very good.
Well, thank you. And then the third thing is, let me see. I hadn't even thought about the third thing. I like walks on beaches. No, just kidding.
I mean, walks on beaches are pretty nice. Not gonna
Walks
lie.
on beaches all by myself. No, I don't know. I love talk shows. I love podcasts. I'm a variety or content creator, so I love to do all of that. So you'll find me on Discord a lot. If you haven't already joined my Discord, you'll find me in Discord a lot. I think I live there. In fact, my kids all say, "Is that all you do? Is come home and play Discord?" So
Play the Discord.
play Discord.
Nice.
For real.
Thanks.
Okay, so, and Johnny, I'm kind of mad at you because this is the second time that you've stolen my answer. Because my favorite game in elementary school was also dodgeball. I only have a brother, so growing up with a brother was very challenging because we had to do everything he wanted to do, and that was a lot of sports. So I was a tomboy growing up, so I learned basketball, baseball, and on the playground, my favorite game was dodgeball, and I thrived on playing dodgeball because I loved getting people out, especially when you hit them on their legs and you knock them off their feet. That was me. I loved it. So yeah, that was my favorite thing to do. Favorite game to play.
Thanks, Annie.
Yeah.
And Annie is actually the person that brought us all together for this podcast discussion session. And and then we also have an event. Annie's also, we'll plug that in now. You have your friends and family talent showcase, which is happening on Saturday and Sunday, April 10 and 11
Yep.
at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's all going to be in her Discord. DJ B, if you want to put the link into the chat, or if somebody wants to do that for us. But everyone's welcome to participate. If you want to do some kind of music, karaoke, what other kinds of things could be done? Spoken word, interpretative dance, art, anything. It's going to be like a big virtual talent show, and everyone's welcome to participate in that. And so again, that's April 10 and 11. It's a weekend Annie Talks has more information about that if you are interested. And then we'll...
I just plugged the sign up sheet right there.
Perfect.
Too as well, so.
Thank you. Yeah, so sign up on there. I promise Annie doesn't ask you for your credit card information or your social security number. So
just blood type, that's all.
Yes, that's very important. for the sacrifice that's happening afterwards. Just kidding. Okay, we do I guess we'll also introduce ourselves. DJB, do you want to tell us about yourself?
What's up? My name is DJ Babinka Han, also known as DJB. It's best to call me DJB because every time I join someone's stream who hasn't met me before, they always like stumble on my on my name. Anyway, so 3 things about me. Let's see. Well, I grew up being a big fan of the Final Fantasy series, Final Fantasy VI being my favorite of all time. What else? I
see Johnny nodding in agreement.
Let's see. I also am. I mainly started on console, and I've only been playing on PC pretty much within the last like 2 years. So there's like a whole generation of like PC games that I completely missed out on, especially like the MOBA generation. You know, there's a lot of people that play like Dota and League of Legends, and I missed out on that generation because I was never really a PC person until recently. I know. But that makes me a minority. Miss Matrix with the raid. Yo, what's up? Thank you.
Yeah.
How's it going, Trixie? What's up, guys? Welcome, Raiders. Welcome to the Mixed Talk podcast.
We're asking everybody what their favorite game to play during recess was.
Yeah, great timing because we are just all introducing ourselves. We have Annie Talk Show, Wifeylovesnerd, JohnnyFrickinRico, my wife Rizaline, Beatrice, and myself, DJ Babinka Han. Thank you guys for joining. We're talking about classic gaming, retro gaming, and what we like to do as gaming today. So that's the question, and we're asking everybody in chat that as well. If you'd like to join the discussion, go ahead and tell us what are games that you played like during recess or your lunch hour in grade school. I don't know if they call it recess.
We're taking it way back.
Anyway, and as far as games that I like to play. I definitely liked Foursquare. I think that Foursquare was really fun because, you know, you had like the different moves you could do with the ball, you know. I think there was one where like there was the treetop where you have the ball up high and then you bounce it really hard down. You know, it's just funny the different moves people would do in Foursquare, and then dodgeball, of course, because dodgeball was like team deathmatch on the playground. You know, that's basically what team deathmatch is now. I think that's why that's such a popular game mode in like Call of Duty and everything nowadays. It's just that's what dodgeball is.
If you played dodgeball as a kid, then you probably like playing Call of Duty now.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hot take.
There's a correlation there, right?
Yeah.
The very first battle royale, dodgeball.
Mrs. Matrix says I would bring my 3DS everywhere and battle people at recess with Mario Kart.
Nice.
That sounds fun. That was not my generation, unfortunately, but that sounds fun. What did I don't know. I had like a Game Boy Advanced for recess.
They wouldn't let us bring stuff. Okay, so I'll introduce myself and we'll keep the conversation going. But my name is Rizaline Beatrice. You can call me Rizaline. My Twitch name is actually a mix of my grandma's name and Ugly Betty, which is a TV show I liked. Because Beatrice, I don't know. That's what it is.
No, it works.
Okay. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
Yeah, shout out for Catholic school.
Oh gosh. But I say that because I remember the game I liked to play during recess was tetherball. Well, I don't know, but I'll just pick tetherball.
Tetherball.
I see. I think Hello Kitty Senpai said tetherball also. But I remember what we would do is like 7th and 8th grade, we had the responsibility of like tearing down the equipment because the blacktop where we had recess was also the parking lot. So we would have to like go out and then like take the pole for the tetherball and like put it away into the thing. So then you'd like miss some class for it. And that's also where I learned the idea of like when you're unscrewing like the what is it, the football, the basketball hoop. It's like there's someone told me righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's where I learned that. So if there's anything you learn from this podcast, righty tighty, lefty loosey. And yeah. And I like watching a lot of crime shows. I love SVU, Criminal Minds, NCIS. I like watching Bones. So I also like true crime, all the creepy things. And yeah. But so let's go back into talking about gaming. And I asked everyone about elementary school to kind of bring it back. I know that a lot of us think of gaming like video games. Well, just video games, period. But gaming has existed for a long time. Since the beginning of history, people in ancient Egypt were playing their own kinds of board games, or like checkers, chess.
Anybody remember that scene in 10 Commandments? If they're like playing, and then they're like shaking the things, and then they drop it on the board.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anyone
I don't
remembers
remember what the name of it is.
They were gaming.
That's a good reference.
They were true gamers.
For real. They were holy gamers.
Yes, yes, because even in the Bible, they had people like casting lots for someone's clothing.
Oh,
that's
before Jesus tossed it up. Yeah,
that's OG multiplayer.
Yes, yes, there you go. And I think, did anyone have any other kind of trivia tidbits about old classic games? I think Wifey had, or you had some.
I have some fun facts.
Okay.
About not just old stuff, some of the new stuff as well. I can share that the first video game in the world was Pong, and that was 1958.
Oh
wow!
So that was one of the first video games ever created. I think the first console was the Odyssey, if I'm not mistaken. And they actually had Pong developed into that home version, which was then released in 1975. Let's see. Mario from Nintendo actually appeared first in Donkey Kong before they did Mario and in the actual Nintendo games. And he was actually named Jumpman before he was actually named Mario. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see. Minecraft is actually one of the most downloaded games in the world. So that's something that's obviously now.
That sounds about right.
I think the sales has topped over $2 billion.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Minecraft?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I don't know.
Do any of you guys play Minecraft?
Although
my son does.
I've never played Minecraft. Yeah.
Well, I think when you install Windows, sometimes it installs it.
What?
So you to say that's the most installed, it's like, yeah, of course it is. It's part of it's part of the installation of Windows 10.
it's part of the bundle.
You could just say that you play, Johnny. You don't have to beat around the bush and just admit it. It's okay.
Yeah, I love it.
This is a safe space. You can be open and honest.
Equivalent. Yeah, sorry.
Did anybody have an Atari?
I did.
Nice.
So I found out the Atari was just started with $500, and within 5 years, the company earned over $28 million by 1982. And the Atari, the person who made the Atari, Nolan Bushnell, I might be saying that wrong.
Shout out to homie Nolan.
he actually did the Atari, but he also opened the entertainment company Chuck E. Cheese.
What?
So I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Wow.
Huh.
Same person that made the Atari.
So because of the guy who made the Atari, he also opened Chuck E. Cheese, and that also makes me think of Five Nights at Freddy's, because the guy who made that game was inspired by Chuck E. Cheese. So if we didn't have the Atari, then we wouldn't have Five Nights at Freddy's. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. just think about that for a little bit. I'm just kidding. Nice. Okay.
Pac-Man was actually supposed to be called Puck-Man before it was called
They dodged
Pac-Man.
They dodged the bullet with that one.
Good thing. Good thing they
And
changed
Sonic,
it.
Sonic the Hedgehog was almost an armadillo. And they experimented with
Sonic
different
the
animals,
armadillo.
such as a dog and an old guy with a mustache.
I've heard
But
that
because
one
it was so
before.
similar to Mario, they had to, kind of kill that idea. And I guess they tried different animals until the porcupine, I guess is what he is, right?
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
Or hedgehog.
Sonic.
Yeah,
the
that's what he ended up
Hedgehog.
being. But they ended up trying him with different type of animals to see what he, I guess, would look better as.
Actually, for Sonic the Hedgehog, they actually Sega had an in company everyone submitted their own designs for how Sonic would look, and that's how they finalized on the final look of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Speaking of mascots, they say that Mario is more internationally recognizable by children than Mickey Mouse.
Nice.
Wow.
Take that, Disney.
Wow. Who knew?
Take that. Which is exciting because there's I know in Universal Studios Japan, Tokyo, they have the Nintendo, they have like a section of the park that's like Super Mario themed. And then they are also opening it up at the Universal Studios in Hollywood. So
Super hyped for that.
Cool.
so if we eventually can
That's
all
so
get our
cool.
Super Mario on. Yeah, right? It's like how Universal Studios has the Harry Potter land, or like Disneyland has like the Star
Right.
Wars little area. So now there's going to be a Super Mario area. And
Ooh, that's
so
gonna
cool.
be pretty awesome.
yeah.
Mhm.
We've seen some videos of like the rides or like the food that they have, and it's all like themed with each character and stuff, which is
Yeah,
cool.
and you have like a wristband, an electronic wristband, and then you go around to like blocks, like the question blocks in Mario, and then you would punch the bottom, and then it would give you like a point or something like that, and you have to go around the park and do that. It's pretty
Oh,
interesting.
that's so cool.
Oh, that's cool. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt, or you have to. You know what? It's clever because it's a way for you. It encourages you to go visit every particular land or
Yeah,
every.
actually,
you
yeah,
know,
it's true.
But they have something like that
attraction.
with the Harry Potter, like with the wand or something. You go to
Yeah.
different places or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Harry
I've never
Potter Land
been,
is
but I've
really
heard of it.
fun. It's really cool. I mean, I didn't geek out as many of them did. I went with my brother and his family, and they were so geeked out. I mean, in a good way, that I literally was like, "What are they doing?" I had to kind of piggyback off of them and just kind of educate myself. I didn't want to look like the outcast, right? So I'm all, okay, let's go. I don't know what they're doing, but yeah,
Nice.
it's a good place.
Yeah. So that's like the more modern aspect, because I think in a way that counts as gaming. These kinds of they're not just playing something on a console on a TV. It's interactive. Like you have like Pokemon Go, and where it's location based, or you have some kind of wristband that you scan or is activated by something. And those are the popular things for today. But I do want to bring it back again to the very beginning. We've been talking about games we played in elementary school and recess. And I want to ask everybody the next question, which is, what is your first memory of gaming. Did anyone eager to jump in first? I think I see Johnny making some thinking faces here. Like his gears are
I
turning.
could jump in if you want. So when I was a kid, when I was in junior high school, it's called junior high school, not middle school. Let me just be clear. Just kidding. It's in junior high school. I think actually even earlier, maybe. Okay, so let me step back. My earlier recollections is my brother and I would every single day walk to the arcade. It was called Alpine Village, or it is called Alpine Village here in Torrance. And we would walk to the arcade every single day with our bags of quarters, literally bags of quarters, and we'd get next. You know that concept of putting a quarter up on the console, so that signified that you were next. So if the person who's playing, you put a quarter up there, they know that they have to step aside to make sure that the person next who put the quarter up there is next. And so we would always be next. We'd add our quarters up there like crazy. But we would go every single day, and one of the first games that we play would be Asteroids, super retro. I kind of put a list here. We would play Asteroids. We would play Galaga. For me, Galaga was my favorite game. Space Invaders was a huge hit. Space Invaders was the thing, and it didn't matter what level you were. It was so much fun, so competitive, and then people started getting wind of this from school. Like next thing you know, we got a whole bunch of people from after school or going there after school, and it was super crowded, so they had to do crowd control. So that was some of my early recollections of arcade games, quote unquote. But in terms of video games and video consoles, we had ColecoVision. That's like an old console, one of the ancient consoles, and that thing was a gigantic brick. And one of my favorite games that we would play on there was Donkey Kong. And my brother was so freaking competitive that it made me competitive, and to the point where like, I'm going to get you, I'm going to pass your high score. And that was it. I wanted to pass his high score every single day. And then later on, we would play things like, tennis. We played, I forget what console we ended up getting. I think we had Activision. Oh my gosh, that was super even, or Sega rather, not Activision, Sega Vision. Do you guys remember those? Sega Vision was amazingly, it was in competition, of course, with Coleco, but there was so many games that my brother and I would always play. And funny stories, my father, this is traditional Filipino man, never understood what it was about. But one day he sat like where we would sit, and he would play, and he'd never know what. He would just press buttons,
Nice.
press
That's
buttons
me.
and hold things, and
That's me.
We're like, no, Dad, you're dying, no, Dad. And at one point, he seriously thought he was doing something wrong. Or so me and my brother just looked at him and we said, let's just tell him he's doing good. Yay, Dad, you're doing it! You're doing it! Yay! And my dad was so excited, and every day he was like, are we going to play? We're like, not today, Dad. So yeah. We tricked my dad, poor thing. So that was some of the earlier recollections for me, and it was very, very nostalgic thinking back to it. So yeah,
I like that. Did anyone else go to the arcade and play games, or mostly do you play consoles at home?
Like for me and my sister were really lucky because we came from a family that my dad always said, computers is going to be the way of the future. And we always had computers. We had the VIC-20, the Commodore 64 growing up. I had consoles at my grandparents' house.
Oh, wow.
And at home. But we had a lot of computer experience, even at an early age. I could type my papers for school.
Oh, you were one of those
No
kids.
one else would do it, right? They didn't have a typewriter. I was just doing the word processor.
Wow.
And they'd be like, whoa, Arcade, I remember the malls, like the West Covina Fashion Plaza in West Covina. Most of the malls had a place called Timeout in California. And Timeout was this really cool arcade. They had the newest, the greatest games. And me and my best friend, which we were still best friends, we would go out there and and with a roll of quarters and just blow it on.
Quarters.
But yeah, it was. I think me and my sister, we knew we were really lucky growing up that we were very computer literate, like even at an early age. And it's pretty much most of the consoles we had, not all of them, but the Atari 2600. My grandma had that at her house.
Wow.
And then we had a Nintendo later on, and then I got a Sega Genesis when I was a teenager, and that was awesome because I got to play RPG games. And me and my best friend, we would like get the little instruction book and go through it and map out on the RPGs, because I've never played an RPG. I think Phantasy Star 2 was the first one I ever played, and we beat it, and we were like on top of the cloud 9,
Wow.
Nice. Hold on, Johnny. I'm
actually-
still a little mind blown. You said your grandparents had consoles?
Well, my grandma had an Atari for us.
She was a
when we
she was
were
a true
there
gamer.
after school, we gotta play Atari 2600.
Shout out to your
My
grandma.
other grandparents, they had no video games. They had board games. So me and my sister would play Creature Features, which I have right here. behind me, that little-
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
We'd
cool.
play board games there. So it was kind of cool. We got a little best of both worlds, kind of, depending on where we were.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, Annie, were
I
you
actually
going to say
wanted to
something?
add to that, yeah, because even earlier than actual arcade games, like the big consoles, the big gaming units, we played pinball.
Oh, yeah.
Pinball.
Heck yeah.
Pinball was, man, it was hella fun. It was so much fun, and my recollection of that too was not just in the arcades, but my parents were, sorry, Mom and Dad, but may my dad rest in peace, but they were avid gamblers. So they used to go to the racetrack. We used to go to the racetrack all the time. Shh, don't tell anybody. So we used to go to the racetrack, and my brother and I would always try to make games of something. So we would go, first of all, we would go around and pick up these little tickets, or all these tickets, and they were different colors, and we'd pick up 4 sets of colors so that we could collect numbers 1 through 12 to make a deck of cards, and that's how we would play cards and play Uno or whatever. But we would also go, just ask Mom and Dad for a roll of quarters, or can we have like $3 or $5 so we can go down to the arcade? We go down to the arcade and we would play pinball. Pinball was the shiz, and it was so much fun. And if you knew anything about the old pinball games, the ones that would play them so avidly, they would actually learn to tilt it. So tilting it in such a way would do one of two things: either put the game out of commission because now it's tilted, nobody can play, or they would tilt it in such a way, I guess that would be the early hacking.
Mm-hmm.
So they would tilt it in such a way where it would continuously give credits, and credits are extra games, and you'd hear that little knock. It would sound like a little knock, it would go constantly credits after credits after credits, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're never going to be able to play now. So that was an early recollection of that too. It was so much fun.
Sorry. You bringing that up, I always wanted a pinball machine as a kid, and I remember we got one. We got a Fonzie from Happy Days.
What?
And me and my sister, we played the hell out of it. It was nothing fancy, not like the ones that you go to the arcade and play, but like it was ours, right?
It was like a
Yeah.
whole
So I
like.
remember we had one pinball machine, a
thingy.
Fonzie from Happy Days.
Whoa.
Oh, how fun. Yeah. If I
Wifey.
still had it, would be worth millions for real. No kidding.
Wifey,
To me,
how
like the
about you?
pinball machines are like works of art because it's not like a computer.
I
thing,
agree
you know?
with that. Even
It's like
even like the ones that are at the arcades that aren't pinball machines, but just the actual arcade games.
The cabinets?
Yes, those
Yeah.
they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But Wifey, I wanted to hear from you about your first experiences with gaming.
So my earliest memories, I was not allowed to have any type of consoles, or
Yes.
I mean, my parents did not want to pay for it, or
Yes.
was told that it was a bad thing, or
Yes.
they rather. I mean, I didn't even have a TV in my room, so growing up, I really had to try and find ways to entertain myself. And one of the things that I used to do, whether it be by myself or even with friends outside, I don't know if you guys remember, it's called gummy twist, I think. I have it written down. Yeah, gummy twist. It's the Chinese jump rope. So 2 people would stand,
Oh,
and the string would go around your
the
legs,
legs. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then the other person would do the jumping and crossing the strings over or whatnot. And even as like by myself, I would take 2 chairs and I'd use them as the legs, and put the rope around, and the
Dude.
same one. I don't know if you guys remember how you would put it in your arms, and you would put your
Yes.
fingers
Yeah.
through
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
grab the X's and bring them around. And so that was like something that I obsessed over. And every time it broke, I begged my mom to go get me another one. There used to be like a little comic store, like a little small little comic store by the house, and they sold those little Chinese jump ropes. And so I used to always go and get the new colors, or neon colors, or stuff like that, and have a collection, and bring them with me to school to play after school with my friends, or or just at home. But I really didn't have consoles or gaming like that growing up. It always got handed down to me. So I want to say I didn't get my first Nintendo until like, probably middle school. Maybe even older. I can't really remember, but I know that it was pretty late in the game. And people were playing already like the way newer stuff, and I was just starting out with just a regular, Nintendo, with just, the simple Mario games, stuff like that. And so I never really, had all the different consoles, like the Atari, or one of the or the older ones like the Nintendo 64, and as it progressed. So yeah, I mainly played outside. I mainly played with friends. Or board games was a big hit too. My parents and I would have certain nights sometimes where we would sit down and play certain little board games as a family, or just kind of me on my own in my room or with friends. So
nice. That makes sense, because you're sharing that you like to do like crafts or like baking.
Right.
So it's very like things with your
Hands-on.
hands. So you're from a young age, you're like things to do.
And I learned how to kind of keep myself entertained. I've never really been a gamer, and even now, I have gamed more than I've ever gamed pretty much of my life.
Same. I feel that
due
too.
to COVID and everything. Yeah, I mean, you have to find ways to entertain yourself. But no matter what, I'm always still doing either baking or crafting or some kind of project. Annie knows I'm always telling her my next project and what I'm working on. So
Nice.
I guess that kind of came from that, came from my childhood, to where I had to find ways to keep myself entertained with, my own things, or sometimes I'd make up my own games by myself,
Right.
or playing with dolls, or whatever I could find to keep myself entertained. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I can think of is were those games that we played outside with friends.
Nice.
And then the old Nintendo.
I feel like I'm kind of similar to you also, wifey. Like growing up, my parents didn't really want us to have any kind of video games or anything, and they kind of used it as like a pride, like we're proud of the fact that our kids didn't grow up playing games and stuff.
That's Asian parents.
But so we didn't have any. We didn't really have any of the early consoles growing up, and like the first memories I have are like going to like some random family party and they have the PlayStation 1 or something. Like my cousin had that, and they had like Parappa Rappa or something. Like all of the early memories I have of video games are like they're like indirect. Or I know my brother, he convinced my parents to get like a Halo for the PC or something, but it was like an old version. Like, and it isn't. And I think the first console we got was a gift, and it was the Wii.
Oh, a gift?
Yeah,
Oh.
we got it from one of our relatives.
Oh, wow.
I think it's still at my parents' house. And also I this is the most I've been gaming ever, really.
Why? What do you play lately?
Well, I've been playing Animal Crossing. I was just playing Animal Crossing earlier because I wanted to collect the stars from last night. But yeah,
and that only available on Nintendo Switch?
I think so.
Yeah. I like the Switch because it's like it felt like the best, like decent quality. Like I don't know, like that's the first console I've bought for myself. But DJB, you want to share your first experiences with gaming?
Yeah, sure. Well, something that they're talking about in chat is the ET Atari
the worst game.
cartridge, and it's considered one of the worst games of all time because I think.
Really?
I mean, there are a lot of bad games out there.
Didn't they bury it in the desert?
They did. They tried to destroy them and bury them out in the desert. But I think the reason being,
and he's like shook.
I'm shocked.
Well, see,
I think of Jumanji.
Well, see, I think it's a little unfair, though. It's a little unfair because the game itself isn't necessarily because it was so bad. That's why that it's considered the worst game of all time. But it was bad. But on top of that, it was mass produced by Atari. Because the movie was coming out and they thought it was going to be this big hit, even though the guy that they gave the game to, from what I remember, was only given like 2 to 3 weeks to make the game, and then they mass produced it, and because of all that money, and this is the mid '80s, I think, where they realized how big the gaming industry was getting, and so all these different companies were coming out with all these different consoles. And so the market was super saturated, and the market completely crashed because of that game, because all those funds that they were being thrown into ET on the Atari, and so yeah, and that's why I think that's why Atari kind of.
Did you have an Atari?
I did not. No, I did not. Well, that I'm going to go into my so you talk about how like you weren't allowed to have video games, or your parents just. Were prideful in not letting you play video games. Well, my parents were kind of the same way, in that, like, I had a lot of friends growing up when I was young that had video game consoles, but my parents were very much against me doing that, and like they would always. Their reasoning would always be just that they don't want me to be distracted from my studies or all that stuff, right. Or they'd rather me be out and active, and so and I also I guess assumed that maybe that was just them not wanting to like spend the money on it because they're expensive, but
expensive,
right, But so I grew up like thinking I was always one of those kids that was never really going to be allowed to play video games until like there was one Christmas where I opened up a Christmas present, and it was a Super Nintendo, and
Super Nintendo.
It was the Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Right. And and I was just kind of mind blown because I was amazed that my parents actually got it for me, and like years later I like heard the story that my dad like spoke, like he was trying to come up with like a Christmas present or something like that, and he spoke to his mentor, and he just said, I don't know if I want to get him a Super Nintendo because I don't want him not studying properly or whatever. And then the mentor and my dad's mentor, his name is Wesley, he goes, For God's sakes, Ray, he's only going to be a kid once,
Aww.
So, yeah. Because obviously, I was going to grow up out of video games and never play video games after my childhood, so.
You thought, surprise.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Look at me now.
Tell them what the game that you got with it.
Well, yes.
That's the best part.
Yes.
Let
me tell you that my dad's mentor is actually his spiritual mentor, because he's a pastor, and so my family being devout Protestant Christian, they gave me the Super Nintendo. But the game that they got me for it was Bible Adventures for the regular Nintendo.
For the regular. Johnny's like, oh, I was waiting
I've
for
seen that game. They reviewed it on one of the channels.
Bible Adventures for the console that it does not work for.
So what did you do?
It came with Super Mario World.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
good.
So yes, Super Mario
How
World
funny.
was my first video game experience. Yeah, and so yeah, and eventually, like I took Bible Adventures over to my friend's house who had a regular NES, and we played it, and it was a terrible game, terrible. You one level as you play is like Pharaoh's daughter, I think, and
Like
you're carrying
Moses?
a baby Moses on your head.
Don't
You have
drop
to
the
carry it to
Moses.
the end of the level, and like you get attacked by like tigers,
Don't
and if you
drop
get
the
attacked by the
Moses.
time you drop the baby,
Don't drop the baby.
Oh my goodness.
this is a terrible game.
Oh my God.
Go watch reviews of it on YouTube or something like
That
that.
sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I remember playing Sega and playing Lion King on Sega. And what was the other one? I think it was Aladdin.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was like at someone's house. And I was like so like
Amazed.
entertained and so amazed. And I was like, oh my God, this is cool, playing Aladdin and you have the Sega. Oh yeah, he has a Sega right there.
Nice.
Genesis.
Yep.
It's mounted on the wall.
And we're going like this.
Wow.
You have to
blowing it,
blow
even
on
if it didn't
the
work.
Oh, yeah.
That was on the NES because it would like bend the little gold fingers. I want to tell a really quick story real fast. Rizaline talked about the Wii, and my oldest son, he had a Wii,
nice.
and those Wii's are durable because you know how they have the Nintendo eShop where you could buy games, right? He put in $5 worth of change into the CD-ROM thing. And we couldn't figure out why it wouldn't play the disc. And then we opened it up and all this change fell out. And
He thought it was at an
console-
arcade.
the console still works. Okay.
Oh my
Dude.
He didn't know.
Dude.
He didn't understand. He had to buy it with a credit card. He just kept putting change in there.
Aw.
He was young. He was young. At that.
Bless his heart.
Dude.
My
That's,
sister had the
You too could
Wii.
buy it.
We used to play Just Dance on the Wii. I
Oh,
remember
yes.
doing that with my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so many times we would play, and like especially the younger kids in the family, and they would play, and you have to have that controller in your hand as you're dancing. And oh my gosh, how many times did that controller just fly across the room?
you gotta
You're like, oh,
strap
shoot.
it down.
Mhm.
Yeah, but a lot of the kids wouldn't.
Yo.
Like,
How many
they would
TVs
grab
are
the
broken?
controllers. But they always still worked. Like they were so durable. It's
Yeah.
so true because
Nintendo.
they always worked, no matter how many times you dropped it and flung it across the room.
Nintendo builds
But-
consoles like Ford builds cars. They're built to last.
Right? That's
and
a brick.
what's like innovative with the Wii is it's a remote that's like interactive with your action.
The Wii is a
Yeah,
great
motion
console
control.
because the
It was the
Wii.
first one to do that, huh?
Yeah, the Wii made it accessible.
No, what about the arm one?
What?
Isn't there like an old thing that's like an arm?
the
That
Power Glove.
never worked. The Power Glove never worked.
Remember the movie The
I
Wizard
never
where the
had
kid
one,
just
but my
like
friend had
just
one.
like-
It never worked. You type the code in, it never works. It's a gimmick. It's cool.
Well, no, but what I was saying is the Wii made gamers out of people that had never really owned a video game console before. Like
Truth.
like older people. I knew Filipino aunties that were never interested in
Yes.
playing video games, but they got themselves a Wii because they wanted to play Just Dance or Wii
Or
Fit
Wii Sports, yeah.
Wii Sports, yeah.
Right. They had the
Joe-
exercise ones and stuff too.
Joe Coy talks about that in one of his bits. He talks about his mom. He talks about
Playing the
how they
Wii.
she would be like strategizing. Oh, I'll come over there, Joseph, but can we play Wii? And then she'd be like, let's play Wii bowling, right? And he goes, okay, but Mom, I'll go easy on you. She goes, oh, okay, because I've been practicing only a little. And then she would take her controller and she would beat the crap out of Joe Coy, and he's like, what? Yeah, so it literally made gamers out of the older generation, which was
true.
really, really ingenious, right? They reached out to a demographic that was almost kind of a lost demographic because they didn't have a way to be able to connect, with the younger generation and to get into gaming, so to speak. So until Wii. So what a really great concept. I don't know how popular it is today, but and whether or not those games are still going. I imagine maybe so. I don't know. Anybody have stats on that?
In GameStop, they still sell some of the Wii games.
Oh, really?
And even still some of the controllers, like people come and trade them or sell them, I guess. But I have seen them still. They're still out there.
So we're talking about the classic Wii, and no one really talks about the Wii U. We just kind of skip that.
Yeah, that console never existed.
The
Wii U, the Virtual Boy, they never existed.
You have one though.
I have a Wii U, yeah, and I've used it maybe like a month and then never used it again.
Really?
What was the difference between the Wii and the Wii U?
See, most people didn't know.
It breaks. My kids had one for like not even 6 months. It broke.
It's like,
oh no!
It's like the in between. If you took a Wii and then a Switch, like you get the Wii U because it had like a screen thing that you could like tap on to play stuff that's happening on the TV.
Oh, I see. So it wasn't just the little controller that you held in your hand.
No,
it's like a tablet that you can cast to your TV.
Right.
So you can play here or you can cast there. But
and it was HD, and the Wii wasn't HD, and I think that Nintendo needed an HD console in order to keep producing games that could compete with like the HD market, because PS3, Xbox were already like into that era already, you know.
Nice. So we kind of started to talk. Well, we started to talk about the Wii, but because when did the Wii come out? What is that, like 2000s?
2006 ish. Okay. 2007, something like that.
Because I was also wondering about. Let's see. So we talked about when we were in elementary school, and then what kind of gaming we did when we were in like middle school into high school. I know we've kind of been talking about that already, but if you guys noticed any kind of any changes in the type of gaming you were doing by the time you were in middle school and high school, what kind of things you remember? Like for me, the Wii came out when I was in like middle school and high school. And then we'd play a lot of like Mario Kart. And that's and also random thing, but we also got this like thing from the Philippines. It was called like a VCD. I think it's like video CD. Oh, Annie's like, yes. And it's just, it's like, it's not a DVD player. It's not a CD player. It's its own like disc thing. And we got one of those. It's just like a different kind of, it's kind of like how Soulja Boy made his own console. It's just a random device thing.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's so vague. Yeah.
You had a VCD?
VCD player.
Wow.
Yes, we had one, and like we got a couple of movies from the Philippines.
Weren't the games for it like huge too?
I don't remember. I just remember that we had this thing, and then it also came with its own like controllers, but it's super like
those were expensive. Like you'd have to go to like Circuit
not
City.
Very good quality. And like that doesn't no one uses that today, so it just kind of
so
went
for
away.
Me, middle school was around the 80s for me. Wait, maybe early 70s. I just aged myself. Don't do the math, everybody. So a lot of the board games that we were playing then were like Monopoly, Life, Checkers, Chinese Checkers, Chess, Yahtzee, Connect 4, Battleship. Nice. The original Battleship. You sunk my Battleship.
Battleship's a classic.
And then, of course, the video games that we would play. Touched a little bit on that earlier. Were Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, of course, Galaga, Ms. Pac-Man, Dig Dug. Remember Dig Dug? For those of you who are diehard, Centipede was also one of my favorites. And then Pole Position, one of the original race cars. Joust, remember Joust, Johnny? Oh my gosh. And then one of my favorites at the time too was Tetris. And I don't know about you guys, but I would go to sleep dreaming about Tetris in my head, in my mind, dreaming. No, turn now.
That's like a real thing.
No, fit it here, fit it there. Oh my gosh, it was haunting me, and it was one of those games where I literally. I think that was even later, actually, but it was definitely a game that really just kind of got my imagination going and just kept me, kind of on my toes. And I was so obsessed. I was so obsessed with that game, and then some of the earlier games too was, of course, like I mentioned, pinball, but we also played things like Frogger, so. So those are my early memories of middle school, and this was segue from elementary school to middle school. I didn't do a whole lot in high school at the time, so I don't know why. I think I was in band or not band, but I was on the drill team and everything else, so that kind of occupied my time. So
I wanted to add to that real quick because you mentioned Tetris. I also had a fact that I thought was kind of interesting. They did studies that showed that Tetris can curb sex, drug, and food cravings. And they say that it's because the physical and visual representation of fixing things, putting things in the right spot, gave us the illusion of having our stuff together.
Putting things together,
making it fit. Yeah.
When everything else is falling apart in your life, play Tetris.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was proven that it helped lessen impulsive behavior. So
I mean, few things are more satisfying than getting like a full row with that
baby,
that tall
line. When you got the line.
Wanna play Tetris?
Well, okay. What was I thinking of? So the first thing is that like it's true. Okay, let's all get our minds out of the gutter. So Annie mentioned how like when you play a game and like you like see it in your dreams. Like I feel like I've heard of that as like a real thing that like because you've been looking at something for a long time, like that's just kind of what you see when you close your eyes. And then also with Tetris, like that's one of those games that has like a similar, the model has kind of expanded into different types of games, like the Puyo Puyo, where something is falling into a grid and then has to kind of fill something out, or that reminds me of those like what is the Candy Crush or the Bejeweled?
Bejeweled
Match 3, yeah.
Because even so, like for me growing up, we didn't have consoles, but like my parents had the Nokia phone. Like I would be playing like Snake and like the Mancala on there, like
Mancala,
or on the PC. It like that's where I would play the pinball. The computer pinball or the Minesweeper. I still don't get. Does anyone know how to play Minesweeper?
No clue. No.
Where the thing like exploded or something when you were like on it. Yeah,
yes.
I remember that.
We were just like clicking around.
I used to just click everywhere. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Like, okay, let me see if I'm gonna explode.
Yeah.
You know what? If I really think back, there's all kinds of forms of video games. I remember our family would get together and play Loteria with the beans.
Is it like bingo?
The whole family, my aunt, my grandma, my grandpa.
Bingo.
It's like a Mexican bingo, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, we play Loteria all the time. And then I remember one time I stuck the pinto nose, the pinto bean up my nose. Because me and my sister were like doing stupid stuff. And it got stuck. And my mom was so mad she had to get it out.
Is that what you use for like to mark?
Yeah.
The mark
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, it was like a nightmare.
Okay.
Don't ever put the bean in your nose again.
Okay, good to.
And you want to breathe, right? So it's like.
Oh my
God.
Yeah. Noted. Don't put pinto beans up your nose, guys. Learn from Johnny and his life experience.
Can I not have Johnny's beans, please?
If you only use that for Loteria, that's it, okay?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, snap.
Oh man.
So the next question I have is, so we talked about elementary school, middle school, high school, and now shifting into adulthood and what gaming has looked like for you guys. And the other thought I had too is, we were all talking about how growing up, sometimes our parents were like, no, video games are bad and you can't do this. And there's also been a lot of discussion of like violence in video games and how video games have gotten a bad reputation. And I think that's kind of the attitude that I had, or was kind of made to think growing up.
Well, because we're from we were growing up in the 90s when that was huge. Like, everyone was concerned about Mortal Kombat and like, oh, this game, you could actually see blood in it. No, our kids are going to start killing each other. Like people see games like Call of Duty and they think that that causes just Grand Theft Auto, so I think that's when things really got there was just this huge culture in the 90s where everything was something people wanted to complain about.
Cancel
wrestling culture. No, it wasn't cancel culture. It was like the moms of America or something like that. It just felt that's just what it felt like. They wanted to destroy all rap music, all pro wrestling. They wanted pro wrestling censored. They wanted video games censored. I think we just kind of grew up with this notion that video games are bad or something like that.
Yeah, there was some studies about that, even when I was in early college about talking about how video games were adding to the stress, causing stress, adding to anxieties, and they were the culprit.
It's because they weren't playing Tetris.
Some of the violence, especially behind school violence. So, I mean, that's a whole nother subject, and I don't want to sway that way. But yeah, definitely. But if we're going to touch on young adults, or for me, young adults in college and that in before adulthood, some of the earlier stuff that I was doing, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but backyard baseball was a thing. And I know that there's some. I see some people. I know Tyler Ty, I think his name. One day I happened to be looking through Twitch and I saw him playing backyard baseball, and I thought, oh my gosh! And it brought back such huge memories for me. And there was a time where I would actually copy the CD or the DVD, and then actually literally copy it, and I would go put it in. We had like a couple computers, low grade computers at the time. I would put in every single one of our computers. I think we had like 2 or 3, and then I would make copies for the neighbors, and we'd all be playing backyard baseball. But we would never be playing together because it wasn't the kind where you could, it wasn't through voice over IP or any of that. At the time, it was just get a copy of this backyard baseball. It was a lot of fun, and of course, like Super Mario Kart. And then later in the 2000s, so the 90s for me were college age, young adult, and then into the 2000s we played Super Smash Brothers, of course, the Wii bundles, right? That we talked about earlier, and then talking about today into adulthood. So if you're in my Discord, you guys know that we play a lot of this. We play Among Us, we play CS:GO, Phasmophobia, Valorant, Uno, Fall Guys. We even have tabletop simulators where it has some of the retro games that we bring up, and some other community games in World War Z and Deceit. And then now some of the online games that we've been playing, kind of these community games that we've been playing, such as, of course, there's a Jackbox, but we've been playing Words on Stream. We've been playing Use Your Words. These are all, online gaming. You just have somebody host it, and everybody just goes to a certain website and joins it. And then what's the other one? Oh, Codenames. As of late, we've been playing a lot of that. So those are the games that right now that resonate with me and that I've been having a lot of fun, and that we also host in my Discord. So those are definitely some games that I love today, and I'm hoping that there's going to be more. I know that the new Among Us not the new Among Us, but Among Us is coming up with a new map on Wednesday.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
good to know.
Yeah, I want to have a community night somehow. You know, we'll just play the new map. It should be a lot of fun. So.
Mm-hmm. And the Phasmo game too came out with the new stuff as well.
Oh
Not too
yeah,
long ago.
Phasmophobia. That's a ghost hunting, and we played that quite often. I think Wifey is pretty up there in her levels. She's like what, in the 800s now? I think
700 and something.
700.
Wow.
I'm like,
Goodness.
yeah, I'm like 420 or something like that.
Gotta catch
So,
those ghosts.
yeah.
Gotta get them out of there.
Gotta catch those ghosts.
The thing about Phasmophobia is it forever changes the way like you watch like these ghost movies, because Rizaline and I watched The Conjuring just the other night.
We've
we'd
watched
seen
it before.
Yeah,
but
we'd seen it before, but it's like, oh, there's freezing temperatures. Oh, there's
There's a
things
shadow.
moving. Yeah.
There's EVP.
There's a UV light, so
Right.
got to mark it in the journal.
Funny story. I'm sorry. Funny story is at work. I work at an electronics store, retail store. There's a sound that goes throughout the whole store, and it drives me insane sometimes. And sometimes I walk through in the night, and then out of the blue, it's like I have Tourette syndrome. I walk through there, and then I go, "Oh, EMF." EMF 5. EMF 5. I literally do that. And then there's a sound here in the house. And then I walk through it, and sometimes I just go, "What the heck is that? Is somebody planting?" It sounds like somebody's planting on Valorant. I'm like, "What is
Sounds like somebody
happening?"
planting.
Well, that's like how it happened to me the other day. That this light right above me, all of a sudden just started, and I'm like, "Oh, the ghost is hunting into my house." The lights are flashing. Even my son was like, "Run, hide, go somewhere." You know?
I love it.
Yeah, sanity check,
It
sanity
was just
check.
so funny because that's the first thing that popped into my head was, the games. But
Right.
yeah,
Oh, that's so funny how it's just now it's like a part of your life because you just we're so engulfed in we're so immersed in these games,
It's
right?
true.
Lately. So I'm like, man, everything, and then even looking in my house, I'm like, oh snap, this looks like the house in like Tanglewood or something. I will never go.
it's one of the maps.
It's true though. I've seen teachers they do some kind of version of Among Us and play that with their students, or like or they I go on TikTok a lot, and there's a lot of teachers that share like stuff
Why didn't I ever have those cool teachers?
because they didn't have
Right?
Among Us when you were a kid. But but like they'll even do like Among Us like during recess or something, and like the teacher I guess says someone will be the imposter. It's basically like they're just playing tag, but they're just calling it
Right.
Cool.
Among Us or something.
I noticed that even in my son's virtual learning, they put little Among Us characters in his like slides, like if it was a PowerPoint. And he's like, "Oh, look, it's they put the character," and I'm like, that's so funny that they're using these characters from these games just to kind of get them excited, I guess. I mean, it had nothing to do with the work, but just kind of, I guess, decorating the page. They would have all these little Among Us characters, and so he was all excited to see that, on his math homework. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's very like video games or games, they either dictate pop culture or like pop culture reflects onto them. So like what I'm thinking about is Fortnite and how they have all these characters, and now they'll have like all the Marvel characters on there or whatever or they'll do like collabs with some famous singer or something. And even recently Pokemon had an anniversary, and like did Katy Perry have a song with it, or Post Malone did
Really?
some kind of concert, like virtual concert.
Wow.
But
the anniversary of Pokemon, that's so cool.
something like that, or even like so I'm thinking about like how there's product placement in TV and movies. Are there a lot of product placement in games?
Somewhat, but the thing about product placement in games is that like games are played much longer than say like
That's
a
true.
movie is watched. So so say if for sometimes like I'll open up like a game from like just I'll play a game from like 2000 2010 or something like that. And like all the ads are like archaic, you know, they're just
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I noticed
Yeah, go ahead.
nowadays too, a very popular game is Roblox with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Similar to
something that's
Minecraft.
really popular. And I mean, my son will say, you know, I'll clean up the house just for some Robux
Yeah.
to, you know, to
Nice.
spend. And it's funny because, you know, like I didn't want that when I was a kid. Like I wanted, you know, Barbies or something else. But
I like
but now the
Barbies.
generation, you know, they spend money on these games, and you know, it's an important thing for him. Like, and he'll save up all his points.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give him $5 here, $5 there, and he's like, I'm not spending it because I want, you know, this certain thing for my character, or I want to unlock this
Wow.
certain, you know, game or whatever it is. But yeah, that's one that I've noticed that there's so many kids playing
Yeah.
Roblox. It's insane, and they've
Not just
created so many
kids.
games on there. Yeah, I'm sure adults too.
Yeah, Johnny and I have played it.
Yeah, I
a few
remember
times.
we played the Rake. Remember the Rake?
We did. We played the Wraith. The Rake
This
rather.
monster
We
comes out
also
at night and chases you.
and then
and-
we've also played Theme Park Tycoon,
Yeah.
where we've built
Shark bites.
our theme parks, and Johnny has like this multi-layered theme park. One part that goes underground and up at the top. Yeah, and Shark Bites. Shark Bites is one of my favorites. The thing is with me, and that's actually funny story because it's one of the things that first games that I started learning on PC. You know, playing PC games was so much harder. To me was so much harder than playing console games because, you know, when you think video games, the first thing everybody thinks about are console games. But there are actual PC games that the whole world of PC gaming was new to me, and I had no idea. So one of the earlier games that we were playing at the time, which was a little over about 2 years ago, I think, almost 2 years ago, was Roblox. And he's like, yeah, you use AWSD, and I was like, what? What is this world coming to? What do
Tutorial.
you mean AWS? Yeah, I literally could not grasp that at all.
feel
And then
that.
I couldn't move fast enough, or sometimes in Theme Park Tycoon, I would jump on the conveyor belt or the little belt that would make you go fast, and I would like, wait, where am I going? I had no idea how to use this. And then now, fast forward to today, I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's all I play is PC gaming. So
I feel it.
console games. Yeah, every time I say to my kids, I want to get a console, a gaming console, they're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. So I'm like, okay, fine, then I'll just play PC games. So yeah, that's
I feel like similar to that. Like, because TJB plays a lot of like Overwatch, Valorant, and I always say like I'm not good with limiting my motion to some joysticks or like to some like the mouse and the keyboard. But the ones that I do really well with are like, well, I like the fighting games because I just like smash all the buttons. But I also like the like choose your own adventure kinds of games that aren't so
like Telltale games.
yeah. Like I've played through a lot of the
Until
Telltale
Dawn.
games Until Dawn. Those kinds of.
I
It's
like that game.
it's not
You
so
need to
much
try Raft.
Raft. I feel like I
Yeah,
think
if you like that kind of game, then you would like that too. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good one.
oh yeah. She's been wanting me to play Raft. I'm like,
It's good. It's like that. It's kind of the same. You do your own adventure in a sense, and you have to survive, and you can be creative. You can make your raft 5 stories tall if you want. You know, you can add
It's not a
whatever,
raft
you know,
anymore.
type of. People have animals. I've seen people have like animals, like they've made a little farm on their raft, and it's floating in the ocean.
oh,
So
wow.
you can be really creative with the game. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good one.
Nice.
I mean, as for me, like when it came to games that I felt were more like transitioning into like the more adult type games, like the more mature games, for me it was the MMO era, where, you know, what was big was like World of Warcraft, of course. Final Fantasy 11 was the first MMORPG I ever played. You know, for those not familiar, like MMORPGs are, well, nowadays the big MMOs are Final Fantasy 14, still World of Warcraft.
What's MMO? What's MMO and RPGs?
Massive multiplayer online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you play any MMOs, Johnny? Like
Not really. I played RPGs like on the Genesis, like Phantasy
Right.
Star 2, Phantasy Star 3, but I never really got into MMOs. I played a lot of Counter-Strike in college, Quake 3. Command and Conquer is like the closest thing I came to anything like that, because you could play that online against your friends, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think for like MMOs, it was kind of mind blowing because it was so much more immersive than any other game that I've played before. Like there's immersion in games, but in an MMO, you take the identity of like a character that you create, and in a lot of MMOs you can choose like a career path, like as in you make a job. You take on a job that gives you money, in-game money, and then you sell what you create in that job to boost the economy, and then you buy goods from other people who have different jobs, and you go out and you farm.
Sort of like a Sims.
Like SimCity, like kind of like
Yeah,
SimCity.
like
It was
the
kind
Sims.
of
Not
like
necessarily like a sim, because
But it's the same idea. I mean, that like the
Well,
evolution of
like,
being able to
people
have
can
some
relate
kind
to
of
SimCity, but like what you're
world.
saying, like I played Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's probably the first MMO I played when I actually got a real computer, a notebook. And yeah, it is mind blowing because you can play with your friends, you can socialize with them. You couldn't do that before, really.
some
It
days
opened a whole nother layer to gaming.
I would
to
just
communication.
sit in a city and just chat with the people in that city, because you have the chat for just the people in that particular city or whatever. To me, it was just fascinating and mind blowing that we had gotten to that point where I can just explore out into the world, be killing monsters, and then some guy who's playing, on the other side of the country runs past me,
and now that's just normal.
Well, it's normal, yeah,
That's
sure.
kind of what we're doing right now in
Yeah.
a way, like
Sure.
across the
True.
country.
Yeah.
That makes me think of, because before, like if it was a PC game or something, like wouldn't it come in like multiple discs? Like, I feel like I remember seeing like floppy disks and it'd come in like a whole like binder.
Oh, right.
And
Well,
it's like,
I think there was a whole change to the industry around 2004, right? That's when most people had internet. They had DSL. So a game wouldn't just be completed. You could actually get updates. You can play online. And before 2003, 2004, you couldn't. It was like you buy a game, you get the game. It either sucks or it's good. And that's pretty much it.
yeah,
So
Right.
technology
whereas-
caught up with the industry.
Yeah.
True.
That's a good point. I wanted to touch a little bit on what Rizaline was saying is product placement in some of the shows. I've been listening to a podcast on my way to and from work, because I have like a 40-mile drive each way. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. This one is called The Office Ladies, and these are Jenna Fisher and Angela Kingsley, I think her name is.
From The Office.
They played Pam and Angela in The Office, and they talk about every show. They break down every single show and even give like hidden deleted scenes or fun facts, or they find viewer catches where a viewer caught something. Oh, there was on such and such screen there was this. Anyways, they bring up a game that the cast has started playing because of the producers. The producers behind in the writing room. The writers and the producers would play Call of Duty in between in between sets or in between tapings or whatnot, and they started playing. They had like exclusive club just for the writers and producers, and then when the actors got wind of it, they're like, hey, we want to play. So they ended up being like the actors versus the producers, and then so they make mention of it all the time, and it just cracks me up because it's like, wow, it's really interesting how pop culture, right, dictates what, or rather, the gaming industry in this sense dictates pop culture. It was such a huge hit that they brought it into, they made it work in their workplace, or they brought it into the workplace. So I thought that was really interesting. And when we were talking, planning this segment, this episode, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because there was definitely a mention of gaming to some degree with this podcast. So yeah, it was interesting.
That makes me think of how, well, especially in the past year, people have done well. So like live streaming has gotten way more popular in the last couple of years, and so a lot of people are turning to Twitch or YouTube or Facebook to interact with people. And who I think was it AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she played like Among Us with people on Twitch. Like she's a person in politics who's playing a video game.
Right.
Yeah, politicians have their own Twitch channels. Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. It's crazy.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that that's a whole nother segment, right? So we can talk about, I'm thinking that would probably be the whole, that's like a new episode in and of itself.
Like live streaming and broadcasting. Yeah. I know we've been talking about how first games, sometimes they're played alone, solo, unless we were playing board games with friends or family. And even now that we're more virtual, we do a lot of gaming together, separate together but apart. I wanted to hear about your experiences with gaming with friends and family. If you guys want to talk more about that. I know for us, again, because of like sheltering in place, we've hosted some game nights with friends, like we're playing a lot of like Jackbox. It seems like those are accessible because you just need a screen and then people on their phone. It's like not everyone necessarily has a console or has like the best kind of access to something, but everyone has their phone. So we've done like Among Us with friends. We've also, what's the board game we have with the tiles? Azul. It's a board game. I feel like
Settlers
board games.
of Catan.
Oh yes, we like to play Settlers of Catan. I feel like board games kind of got popular again with young adults. Also, like they wanted to kind of go back to their analog roots with board games.
Yeah, you think maybe it's because like one, when you're a young adult, you have to be a little more intentional with like hanging out with people and spending time with people, and also because everyone spends so much time in front of screens, sometimes it's like it's valuable to like say, hey, let's all get together, and play a board game.
Yeah.
A tabletop game. Give our eyes a rest and just converse. And,
either that or like, because there's like Apples to Apples, which gave way to Cards Against Humanity. And now there's like all these kinds of games where you draw a card and it's funny and basically like they're all like drinking card games. Like everyone wants to do something, basically get drunk or...
I used to play a lot with my sister of Trivial Pursuit. Shots.
Dude!
And every time you get a question wrong, you got to take a shot. By about the 8th shot, you're so afraid of the card, right?
Dude, Trivial Pursuit is so hard.
Scary.
Like you have trying to get all the little pieces of pie for the.
Well, my sister would cheat. She would memorize the question. She would memorize the answer.
That's why you need to get new packs all the time.
How the hell do you know that? She actually actively memorized them.
Dang. That's
funny.
That's the thing too.
We're
like,
very competitive, me and my sister.
Skill.
My family and I, we used to do a lot of our own Pictionary. So we would
Oh.
pass around pieces of paper and everybody come up with either a movie title or an object or whatever came to your mind. And then we would, put them all in a little hat or whatever, and we'd have a big pad of paper, and we'd all take turns and draw whatever it was that was on the piece of paper, and we would laugh, and of course a lot of drinking and stuff would go on as well, and make it kind of crazy. And at the end, the drawings were just like you just could not figure out what the drawings were. But we did that. We did a lot of like charades. I think we did do a few board games growing up with the family here and there. As Johnny mentioned, Loteria is a big one. Or even just playing bingo, regular bingo. And I remember them having those like thing with all the little balls inside.
Yeah.
And you would turn it and the little ball would come out with the number.
Like having like the legit bingo setup with all the gear. Dude.
Yeah, and like with a microphone too, and be like, E4,
Dude.
And
awesome.
we would do that. Especially like if we had like big parties or birthday parties and stuff, when we would play all these different games, and with the kids, we would always play games with them and make them, do
Those
like
are
musical
fun.
chairs or
Heck yeah.
Stuff like that, like pin the tail and donkey, and those kind of games. We used to do that a lot in our family. There was always games and prizes, and we would always kind of do like the kids, and then
Adults.
we would like let the kids do their own thing, and then okay, now it's adults. We would do like adult games, and kind of implement the same. So we would do like musical chairs for the kids, but we would do musical chairs for the adults.
Dude, that's
and
like
it got really competitive.
that's the thing too. I mean, I can understand if it gets too competitive, you're like, I don't want that. I don't need that kind of. I don't need those vibes in
Some
my
people
life.
like that though,
It's like, ooh, I don't know. I mean, that's what's important too. Like good sportsmanship.
Right.
How to be a nice, how to lose graciously. Because it's traumatic if it's not.
Good sportsmanship is key, right?
Speaking of friends and family and gaming, I did also want to go in and mention the Friends and Family Talent Showcase again. DJB is pulling up that slide. Annie Talks is actually going to be hosting that on her Discord channel. It's going to be on a Saturday and Sunday, April 10 and 11. At 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time. If you're interested, you can sign up, and it's basically like a virtual talent show, all in Annie's Discord. Again, that's April 10 and 11, Saturday and Sunday. All kinds of talent is welcome. So if you like to sing or play an instrument, or if you want to do like karaoke, or do some kind of interpretative dance, or do like an art piece of art, something. I don't know.
Even acting in monologues. So don't
spoken word.
Spoken word. So to touch on that. So it's 2 days, like Rizaline mentioned. So Saturday, April 10th, are live performances. So if you play an instrument, you play piano, have a band, and you want to perform a live piece, musical piece, that would be the day that you'd want to sign up for. You can do both Saturday or Sunday, but you can do one or the other, or you could do both. And then on Sunday, the karaoke type / other performances are for those who we welcome for karaoke or spoken word. The idea behind that is if you're going to use a backing track, let's say, that, and not do an actual live performance, to musical performance, then that would be the day that you would choose. So there you go. It can be pre-recorded like Voodoo mentioned. So yeah, definitely. If you have any questions, you can just let me know, or let DJ know if you're interested. But we'd love to showcase you. It's not a competition. Let's be clear. It's not.
I was going to ask if you had a golden buzzer, but
it
was like.
She's got the big, extra big hook.
Did we book Simon Cowell for this event? That's what I want to know.
Oh my gosh! I have one of those long canes that'll take you off the stage. So
Nice.
Yeah, let us know if you're interested. We'd love to have you. Again, it's not a competition. It's more a showcase, because as many of you know, we came from the Twitch Sings, community, and that platform has gone away. So there's so
sad.
many of us that, you know, have these, you know, have the yearning and the longing to be able to do some sort of, you know, performance platform. So we're creating this opportunity for all of you. So please showcase your talent.
Nice. Yeah.
Sign up.
I mean, that's the big thing with gaming for sure, is being able to connect with people, and hopefully in friendly competition that's not so toxic or anything. Which and again, we've been kind of going in taking it back and then bringing it to the present. But the next question I wanted to ask was, with your experiences with gaming, and also because we were talking about how gaming kind of gets a bad reputation, I think at this point it seems a lot more accepted. What are some skills that you've gained or that you've observed people gaining through gaming? What skills have you gained through gaming?
Give us an example.
So, okay, well, different kind of example. So DJB was talking about how his parents got him the Bible game because they wanted him to play a Bible game on his first console. And we have DJB's nephew, or our nephew. He's like 6 years old. He's super into Animal Crossing, Pokemon. He has his own Switch. And the joke in DJB's family is like, you never let us play that, but you're letting him play that. And they're like, well, this because he's the grandkid, so he could do whatever he wants. But there's a shift in just people's perspectives on it. I mean, I think it's still like things that are really gory or violent. It seems like I would hope now people or parents are more observant of what they're giving their kids, because it is also like sometimes people just don't know, and then kids are exposed to some really bad things. But I think at this point, like, it's really useful for people to know how to use a computer or a machine, and like and we were talking about how you have to blow on the cartridge. Like that's audio video. You're like an audio video technician, you know. You're learning like this wire goes here into the TV, and the source of, you know, like we're the engineers for our parents, basically. Right. And then even how Tetris helps with problem solving. So it's like your whatever kinds of whatever you're seeing, and how you're able to, like, your hand-eye coordination if you're playing the Wii.
Problem solving, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In chat, Illusion says, at one stage I became a team leader at work. I can attribute a lot of the leadership skills that I learned to get that role to gaming. And you know, what's funny is, like, I can relate to some degree, because
I mean, I hear you guys when you guys were playing like Valorant last night, and you're like, okay, who has this skill and who is this skill, and how can we work together?
Right, it's building a team, building, like, focusing on people's strengths. And I think gaming also helps me understand what are some of my personal strengths when it comes to forming a team, and like where I naturally like to excel at. You know, I think you take a game like Valorant. If everyone plays very passively and very defensively, you know, you're not going to
die.
Yeah, you know, you're not necessarily going to be a great successful team. You know, you need a good balance of, like, people who are willing to you know, take charge and initiate and take risks and stuff like that. And you also need people who are willing to, who are very more defensive minded and very more grounded and stuff like that, you know. So so I think there's that. On top of that, I guess the social aspect of gaming is important, because I guess, you know, it's like especially nowadays in the pandemic, you don't have that many opportunities to socialize outside. Or, well, I mean, you know, I would hope that most people would be observing, you know, social distancing and not going out and seeing people as often as they used to. And so for me, you know, like, gaming with people online is a way to is my social outlet basically these days. So
Right.
so building on like an online social community and staying connected with people that I play games with is a skill that I've, you know, picked up on more this past year and a half than a lot of other skills, you know.
I echo that as well. I believe that it has stepped up my social, not so much in person social interaction, but more virtual now, right? So, in that, I feel like I have a greater sense of maybe different parts of the world where I would not have. You know, we've got friends from Australia, we've got friends from New Zealand, we've got friends from all over the globe, where, you know, now we're a little bit more attuned to one another, because, you know, we're all going through the pandemic together. But it's always great to know what other parts of the country or world, how are they coping. You know, when you're in your social little groups and you say, "How are you? How's things?" You know, as you're preparing, getting ready for a game, you prepare, and people say to one another, "Oh, things are happening here," you know, like the floods and the fires in Australia. You know, I would never, outside of hearing that from, like, say, the news, but hearing it firsthand from people who are, you know, in those situations, and seeing how they can cope with it. And then you're also adding some human, you know, human touches by saying, "Oh my gosh, thinking of you, you know, be safe." And it just makes it that much more gratifying, because now your social interacting is not just, you know, for naught. It's actually, you're there to add, you know, some comfort and mostly comfort to your friends. But when you touched a little bit about it, you were asking about how it's gaming, you know, improved in areas where, or how has it improved for you, or how does it carry
Like
over
your
to you
skills.
today? For me, I think not just gaming, but overall streaming. I'm so much more. I'm not nearly, you know, as well versed as, say, Johnny, but I'm so much more. You know, from years ago, I knew nothing about computers. I knew nothing about. I mean, I was a good end user, let's say, but I was never one to be able to learn how to set up. I was always relying on other people to do that. Now I can do it for myself. Now I can troubleshoot my own audio. Now I can troubleshoot my own video, you know, issues, whatever. And now I'm kind of the go-to person at work when people want to know about how to get their streamings set, or their streaming, you know, set up.
Yeah.
How do you do that? So now I'm kind of that go-to person, which kind of makes me feel good, because now I know I'm doing something that's making a difference in somebody else's life, and not just sitting here playing games. So I have that to attribute. So I feel like I'm so much more. I feel a little bit more savvy now than I probably would have been, say, you know, 3-4 years ago. So, and I have gaming and I have streaming. I have that to, you know, to attribute that to.
Nice. Wifey, how about you?
Well, that also brings me to my last fact, if you want to
Ooh, yes,
hear
yes,
that really
yes.
fast. There's a very interesting fact about gaming, and games provide a 23% gain over traditional learning. In 2013, research shows that games can increase learning outcomes by 2 grade levels. And same as what we were talking about, that they say that co-op play is better. There was a study also that showed that you know, the co-op playing on motivation and kids playing together, you know, helped, you know, teach them how to, you know, learn with teams and groups, how to interact with each other. Same thing like what DJ was saying when we play Valorant, and, you know, we're talking about who's doing what and what skills. You know, these kids, even though, you know, some people think, oh, gaming, you know, shouldn't be, you know, a thing that they're doing, or they play too much gaming, or that, you know, they're on the, you know, in front of a screen for too long. But there are studies showing that actually gaming actually does help, you know, certain kids. Maybe not everyone, but
Yeah.
It does show that, that it does help, especially when they're playing co-op games and stuff, that they do have to use communication. They do have to,
Super important.
learn how to work together, and in a good way, not in a negative way or a toxic way, in a good way, to help each other to win a certain game or beat a certain level or whatever it is, depending on the game. But I think for me personally, again, because I was never a gamer, and I really don't really consider myself a gamer really yet. I just, play games here and there, but same thing. I never knew how to do this whole thing with the keyboard and my mouse at the same time. And that was something that I really had to get used to. And now it's, something that I don't even realize that I'm doing as we're playing these games, anything from, Phasmophobia to Valorant, everything is keyboard and mouse. So that was something that, I never knew how to do before. And I mean, this is like recent. It's not even like a long time ago. Everything was same controllers, we have Xbox in the house. We have Nintendo Switch in the house. So everything was controllers. And so I was so used to that. And even still, we play Fall Guys, and I have to play with controller. I still cannot get it with keyboard.
It's hard.
It is hard, and
hard.
I'm like, when I found that I could use my controller, I'm like, I'm getting my controller. We have a PS4, which died, but we still have the controllers. So I just attached it to my computer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could play Valorant that way, and Phasmo that way, but some of them you can't use your controller, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a skill that I think I improved on, was how to multitask that way with doing the keyboard and the mouse thing. And I'm still not perfect, sometimes I hit wrong keys on accident, and I get so mad in the game.
Happens to the best of us.
But yeah, that's definitely what I think that I've not mastered, but have learned a lot more now, or it's something that's engraved. Like I don't even notice that I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's like it's good to learn something new, to always be learning something new. What I thought of too was on the DS, the game that was popular was like Brain Age. So it's like it had all these like it's like math problems, and we're reading things to keep it's like Sudoku and stuff, like those kinds of things to keep your mind sharp. And I also think of like creativity, and people make entire worlds, or they make an entire theme park, or was it like Minecraft? People will make, I think they had like a virtual graduation ceremony for like a university in Minecraft or something, or last night I was on Animal Crossing, and I was literally like redoing my house and like picking out the wallpaper, and like I was like interior HGTV interior designing up in that. But it's
still something learned though. Like, even the kids, like that's whether or not they don't know that they're actually learning interior design, right? Because they're just picking out cool things for their house. But I play Planet Zoo. I haven't played it in a while, but I have played Planet Zoo. And same thing, I have to know which animal goes in what habitat, and, what kind of food you have to give that animal, and what kind of temperatures does that animal need. If it's a, polar bear, it needs snow and ice. And if it's, a crocodile or whatever, you have to make sure you make a big area of water. And, it's a learning thing. You're learning about the animals, you're learning about the habitats. But at the same time, it's like, it's a creative thing. You're designing it yourself. You're watching it grow. Kind of like with the roller coaster tycoon thing, you see people coming into your zoo, and they're ooh and ah with the animals, and it's exciting. But I think that it's a cool way for kids also to learn without really knowing that they are learning. They think that they're just playing a regular game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
growing up in elementary school, I played Math Blaster on the computer. So it's like an alien. And then like what else was the reading one? Like Mavis Beacon That's what we used to learn how to read. I think I saw someone in chat say that like their son is learning how to read by playing Pokemon, which also like what also fascinates me is how they've created things to be intuitive somehow. So you take like the Wii controller or like the Switch, and it's or like the idea of like the joystick and the 4 buttons is universal. You know, you look at any controller and that's what it is. Or like the keyboard is always the mouse, and the ASWD, like it's those kinds of like they've figured out what makes sense to people. And even if you can't read, you could like look at a game on a Switch and kind of figure out what's going on somehow.
Right.
But
colors from there too.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, we were talking about. I had a thought. The old computers way back when the IBM computers, we used to have an old IBM computer, my dad's old computer. We were running CS-DOS, and I had to stick in a floppy disk to be able to boot it up. And the one and only game that I was ever allowed to play was Hangman.
What?
It was so hilarious. And the way you had to play Hangman, it was all, I mean, these were like old fonts, and there were really literally no images that came onto your screen. It was a CRT monitor, CRT screen. And sometimes if you would guess if you would guess a letter wrong, or you'd guess the word wrong, it would be the one and only thing that it would ever come up with is close but no cigar. Try again. I'm like, oh snap! That was super ancient. Sorry, I just had a thought.
Yeah. That's like how
I had to make that game in college for.
Did you?
Computer science, yeah.
Snap.
Hangman and C++. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's your skill then with gaming, is creating the game itself? Or
No, that was one of my C++ class in college. I have a degree in computer science.
Okay.
You know that. But playing video games, I think it does inspire imagination and innovation. We were talking about Roblox earlier, and with Roblox, you can create your own Roblox game. I created a game on there called Sword Battle X, where it's a battle royale. You just go at it. People join the public area. It'll randomly pick a map, either snow, forest, or desert, and then she played with me.
Yeah.
But you can do that for any game. So there's people that are making games on Roblox that's basically Phasmophobia, but it's a Roblox game.
Yeah.
And
we
that's
played.
what's
Yeah, we
crazy.
played that game. That was really creepy.
Shark Bites is based on the Jaws game on the Xbox years and years ago. So it's really kind of cool because it's not only it gives a lot of open platform for you to create your own games. If you know how to program a Lua programming language, you could easily make a game in Roblox pretty easily. It's still hard, but I'm just saying it's doable,
That's what's fascinating too. There's a game, is it on like the PlayStation, where you can design a game? Is it like Dreams or something?
Dreams or Little Big Planet.
But just the idea that like now we can come up with our own games and like make it on our own terms because of the models we have of things we've played before. And it isn't easy, because even like the idea of a choose your own adventure, you pick one path and then you go into A or A1, and then from there it's like a tree, like a have you guys played the Bandersnatch on Netflix? It's not exactly a game, but it's the idea of a choose your own adventure, and how
I highly recommend it.
Black Mirror, yeah.
It's very fascinating. It's very interesting because it kind of shows you what the future of interactive media is, and how movies or TV shows and gaming could start to intersect in a way that maybe in the future that they might not be that different from one another.
And that's already what's happening, because again,
it's scary because you watch an episode 2 years ago and it's happening today. It's like it knows what's going on.
Yeah,
it's a great show. It's one of my favorite shows, Black Mirror. Definitely.
going back to like the whole MMORPG type game, where something I learned from that is sort of just how to earn money and save money, because I was talking about how you take on a job
true.
of like
That's
say you become an armor builder, and you build armor for characters that use that armor, and they're going to want to buy it from you, but you have to go and train your skills into building that armor, and the more you work at building that skill, the more money you'll make from characters who actually want to buy that from you. So it's sort of like it's teaching you how economy works, how saving and earning works, and all that stuff. So that's some.
I wish
That's all games too, right? Because even like in Valorant or CS:GO, where you have you earn in-game loot or in-game currency.
Even Phasmo.
Yeah, in Phasmo, yeah, and then you have to learn how to economize by, if you don't have enough here, this round
Sure,
save and
yeah.
buy for next round. So
That's
yeah,
true.
I mean, it definitely teaches you a ton of skills, a lot of motor skills, definitely a lot of social interaction skills, communication skills too, right? Because that's huge. You definitely need to communicate to one another, to your teammates, especially like either in game or mechanisms like this through Discord. So there's and then also I don't know so much about like hand-eye coordination. I would think so, because you're still shooting at a moving target, so to speak, right? So there's a lot of different things that are
or like
coming,
reaction time, yeah.
right? Reaction time especially. Oh my goodness, it's all
And
huge.
aim.
So yeah, I mean, yeah.
I thought of a game too that I don't know if you guys remember. Long time ago, same thing with one of the first like computers we had in the house, and it was like a castle game. And you had to type like there was like a door, and it was like doors locked, and then you're like, well, can you use a key? And then
All
it was
text.
respond to you. Right, it was all text.
Dracula's the clock. Yeah, it's like there's a vampire. You wake up in the bed and you have to tell them where to go. Go north, go south, open
And
the
then
door.
he would tell you no.
Those are the
or if you got it right,
PC
you would
games.
move
Yeah,
up, move up.
I thought those were fascinating way back then, and it's all text only.
Right,
only.
and that helped me to learn how to type for the first time on the computers,
Oh,
because it was all text. Yeah, I remember that. I couldn't remember the names though.
Well, there was a couple of different ones they had, but I remember the Dracula's castle one where you wake up in the bed and there's a
I think that was
sign
the
that says it says like the vampires come out at midnight, and then there's a clock. You look at the clock and it's like it's 11:20. It's like
Didn't they, the Big Bang Theory also referenced a similar game? I think, wasn't it Dungeons and Dragons, where they would always sit around at their table with their computers, all of them, right? They're all in the same room with their laptops, and they're playing their games or their characters, and who is it? The dungeon masters? Am I saying this right?
Yeah.
The dungeon
I
master
think
would
so.
read the scenario. You enter into and the dragon does this. What do you do next? And then, depending on who's answering, he would type it in. So it's a lot of that, a lot of the social interaction that way, and a lot of the typing. So you teaches you how to quickly think on your feet, right? So things. I thought that was pretty interesting. Again, another product mention or mention of a game in a show. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
honorable mention: typing of the dead. Teach you how to type.
Typing of the dead.
I've never heard of that one.
It's House of the Dead, but with a keyboard, and you have to type the correct thing so the zombies get you. They come right at you.
Ooh.
Oh my
Typing
god!
of the dead.
Really?
That sounds fun.
Ooh, is that game still in existence
Yeah.
or no?
I have it over
Typing
there.
of the Dead. What?
Kids love it on the Dreamcast. Yeah.
Is it free?
on the
Can we download
Dreamcast.
it?
No, it was on the Dreamcast. I don't know about PC. It was on the Sega Dreamcast.
It might be.
Okay.
A lot of these like classic games, they're like accessed through the internet now too. Like what's one that's popular is like an Oregon Trail. A lot of people played that.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen a
Oregon
TikTok
Trail.
video of a teacher having their class play a version of Oregon
My
Trail.
kid has that board game. He brought it. He wanted to play it. I'm like, trying to figure it out because it's very
board game?
tactical actually game. Oregon Trail.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just remember playing that in like computer class at school, and you know you would name all the people in your wagon by like your friends, and so you know I'd just be traveling, and all of a sudden it says Ronald has died of dysentery or something like that.
Rest in peace to Ronald. Sorry. So we have a couple more questions, and then we'll be wrapping it up shortly. But I wanted to also ask about. We've talked about the past, and now we're going into the present and looking into the future. So we were talking about like interactive games and how that's, I mean, a lot of the future stuff is happening now. Like VR is much more accessible. So there's VR, and then there's like AR, like virtual reality, and then like alternate reality.
I think augmented
reality. Thank you. So that's kind of like the Pokemon Go, where it's like location based, or it's like on your phone. What other games are like that?
Augmented reality.
But
there's like a lot of fitness games or like fitness apps that will reward you for logging push-ups or something like that. So it's kind of like augmented reality, you know?
So what are your experiences with that? And I can also share one. I used to work in like the wedding industry, and there would be trade shows. So like a photographer would have a booth, or a planner or caterer, and one of them like photo booths are super popular, and even photo booths have changed with how they can be done with like a camera and pressing a button, or like I've seen the photo booths that's like it looks like a mirror, but it's a camera. I also saw one that was like basically like a VR setup, like some kind of like closed off thing, and then they put you in the headset, and they give you the remote. I mean, this was like 3 years ago, so before COVID times. But I guess the idea is like a VR guest book that people can sign, that's like digitally accessed, but it's like you go in and you can like draw something, or it'll be like 3D, so you'll draw grass and it'll have height and like depth to it. DJB has a PlayStation VR, so we play Keep Talking and Nobody explodes.
Oh, it's like bomb core.
Yes,
right.
yes.
The diffused spike, basically.
Yes,
but
it's very it's trippy because like we both wear glasses, so we have to like make sure that we have to wear our glasses in the thing, and like when I play, I get sweaty, and I don't know. But
I mean, I'm looking forward to like when VR just keeps advancing more, and it just becomes more and more immersive, and there's going to be games out there that'll like just really blow your mind. I'm waiting for that VR game that just blows everybody's mind. Right. But you know, we've been already talking about augmented reality because we were talking about the Super Nintendo world, and how and a lot of theme parks I'm imagining are going to incorporate augmented reality where
like at the Harry Potter world and the wand and the shoop shoop.
But like imagine I was actually at what was that place called? Great Wolf Lodge. My parents took my nephew Liam there, and they have this augmented reality thing for kids there where they go around to different stations, and they'll fight wizards or something like that. Well, not actual wizards, but like it's augmented reality.
I want to fight real wizards.
Where you could buy a wand and stuff like that, or a
that's the thing. It's expensive. Like you're gonna buy a whole
it's expensive because upgrading to that stuff is expensive, but it's also like it's.
Or even what we would do is we'll use the VR headset and I'll pull up YouTube, because you can even just use your own phone and like put it to your face basically, and you look around and you can so I was like watching like POVs of like Disney rides, like It's a Small World, and just pretending I'm in a small world, but
it's fun to do.
It is tricky though, because like you kind of get dizzy, and it's
Yeah.
I feel like
The-
they should do something. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the PSVR, it works with 3D Blu-ray. If you put a 3D Blu-ray in, you can watch in 3D. I have the iRobot movie. I didn't believe it, and then I bought a 3D movie Blu-ray, and it works. It's in 3D in the headset.
you're in the movie.
Wow,
You are the robot.
Nice.
that's cool.
That's,
I was gonna say that I hope that they can do something in the future where you're using VR or I don't know something else that they invent, right? But now with like COVID and stuff, how we can't really travel or go places
Yep.
like, you know, some famous street in Paris or like by the Eiffel Tower or something, but you can actually walk around and see the sights, but you're at home essentially, you know, like through like a VR. I know they had a game, something similar to that with Disney World, where you could actually walk around the entire park and ride the rides, and you could like meet the characters and stuff like that. It wasn't VR. I don't know if they have it,
It was
in
the
VR.
Connect. It was the Xbox
Kinect.
Connect. I have the
Right.
game. I bought it for my kids. They love it. Oh.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
really
wow.
cool. It was really cool. But I hope that they could do something similar. Just maybe it being, you know, in VR or some way where it's where you feel like you're in that place, like you're, you know, you want to travel to wherever, India or I don't know, wherever you want to
Yeah.
go. And you can plug that in to where, you know, you can go kind of like Google Maps, right? Where you can
Mhm.
like select where you want to go and you could look around and you're there. Like that would be
Right.
really neat if they, I mean, I don't know if they've invented it already. Who knows?
I
It's
think
like-
they have
But-
some. I know that there's some companies that, let's say you're going to graduate high school and you want to see what Harvard looks like. You can actually, if you
Virtual
have
tour.
Oculus, you can put it on, load it up, and actually take a tour of the
Dude.
campus,
That's cool.
Wow.
of the area
Yeah.
to see if you like it. Same thing with some museums. They have a virtual tour, so you can walk through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's
One of the
I think-
museums, East Coast. You don't have to travel there. You know, it's
and it's
I
also
think
like
they're-
go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I think they're actually doing that. They're starting some of that right now. There's some very,
Yeah.
very experimental, you know, protocols that they were doing. I used to go to SIGGRAPH, which is the I don't really know particularly what it means. It's just a whole digital graphic designing and gaming convention here up in LA, and SIGGRAPH every year. I would actually go as an IRL streamer. So I would take my camera and I would go to every, you know, location. And so tell us a little bit more about this and what is this doing? So I did a lot of that. But anyways, a lot of the things that I would see there were some of the prototypes that they had created that I was actually, I had to do. I had to put on the VR glasses, and then I had, you know, a second person taking the video of me. So they only see, you know, what they see. But
You with, like, a
on the
headset,
other
just-
hand, yeah, I'm immersed in this, you know, amazing environment. I think it was like not a theme park, but it was somewhere similar to that, where I had to take a whole 360 look at this, and no matter where I turned, you know, the scenery would change, right? It would change according to the way that you would look into at the items or things. But I know that they were saying that this is coming. So I think they're actually already, if not perfecting that, or, you know, I think that some companies are starting to put that out there.
Yeah.
And I think they don't quote me, but I think they were even trying to get some of the astronauts to do that as well by putting goggles on them or
Camera. on them so
cameras
they-
in their or, you know, in their spacesuits and whatnot, so they can give that look. Of course, you know, technology is not that quite advanced yet, because how would they transmit that signal back here to Earth? And so there's a lot of different things that are going on. But SIGGRAPH had a lot of that, a lot of the virtual reality, virtual world, augmented reality devices and mechanisms kind of already in its early stages. So I
Yeah.
think that's to come for sure.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
definitely. I mean, now that a lot of things have gone virtual, it's like a lot of people are realizing that, like, it's it's a little bit easier and it's more accessible. Accessibility is definitely the big thing, because not every sometimes people are limited to their movement or something that they can't be there in person to do something. So being able to like virtually go to a theme park or like go to something is really helpful. Like I like to watch like travel vlogs, or like we like to watch like urban exploration, and just seeing someone look at some space. And I mean, nothing is the same as like going there yourself, but if I'm able to like see something and experience something just from my own couch, then that, like, I'll take it. That's cool. I don't have to spend too much money or anything. But yeah, so the last question that I'll leave us at is looking to talk more about looking into the future and how you see gaming. How do you see gaming evolving in the future, or what are you looking forward to? Or even like, what games are you looking forward to playing? I mean, I know we talked a lot about like VR. It seems like VR is like the big thing. The PlayStation 5 just came out, so it's always a newer generation of consoles, and the quality. I mean, I don't know if the quality that cracked up as
I think
it is.
so. My son-in-law just bought a PS5, and from what I can see, it it's definitely worlds of difference from when he played his PS4. So I think so. I don't know the nuances, to tell you the truth, but I think it's definitely changed. But if I could start, I think that for gaming in the future, for me at least, I love the community games. I love like the Jackbox games. I love like the code names and all those kinds of games where we host them, and then all viewers need to do and followers need to do is just log on to a website, and then and then be connected. I would like to see a lot more of that. I think, and I think that the gaming companies are leaning toward that now. So there's a lot more of that happening, and I think there's going to be. I hope there's going to be. I want there to be a surge in that. So because we're always looking for ways to be able to connect with the community, right? Because oftentimes, if we do this in my Discord in our game nights, is if, let's say, you guys don't have Valorant, or if you don't have CS:GO, we'll go and play these games and still connect. Then that's the whole idea, is to be able to have that social interaction. Plus, we're also very competitive, so there's that part of it, and it's a lot of fun. And I want to see more of that, and I'm hoping that they'll do more of those. So. And I started out with that in the gaming world before I started doing more of the FPSs. So I hope and I trust that there'll be more of that.
Nice.
I think too, like, I hope that they, bring out some more games for the kids. Other than just, the shootings and stuff. Like, I would like to see for the future something that maybe some kind of a survival game, but for kids, or, something that, makes them work in groups, makes them do more co-op play, but with kids. Like, for my son, the majority is just Roblox. Like, that's all he wants to play. But because there isn't other games that, I've tried to show him other games, but there isn't anything else really that catches his interest, right? That has the amount of different types of games, of different simulations, of different types of things, like running on McDonald's or whatever. Like, they have a Roblox game like that. There aren't other games that I've seen that is somewhat close to that. So I wish that they would do something, something new, something, PC. There are new things as far as like the Switch and stuff like that, or, PS5, but I'd like to see something else in PC that, that he would want to engage in, and I don't know, something that maybe has to do with some type of learning, but they don't really know that they're learning.
Yeah.
In that sense. And like I said before, the whole VR thing, like I really would like them to implement more like traveling and different places. Is this, you guys hear that?
Yeah,
Yep,
sounds like
it's my house.
Oh.
My house. Somebody's vacuuming.
EMF.
Where are you? What's your name?
Are you here?
Hey, at least it's a clean. It's a
Are you
clean
here?
I was just
Please
writing
don't.
you guys. It's in my house. It's there's someone's
worries.
vacuuming. They're moving
It's
furniture.
the immersive
causing the dogs to bark.
experience. We're all, you know, you guys are just in our living room with us, so. This is the real VR.
I need a sign on the outside of my door that says "on the air."
Right? A blinking light.
Yeah.
No worries.
But yeah,
Sorry.
I think that's what I'd like to see in the future, is that sort of thing. I would love to have something like about space, or like
Ooh, space
some
game.
type of game where you're in space, or you're an astronaut, and maybe there is games like that and I just don't know it. But you know, I haven't really seen anything where, you know, like if you go on Twitch, you know, you see the same stuff, the same type of games people are playing. So I would love to see something like
Sure.
that, like something within space, or maybe being an astronaut, or riding your own ship or something. I don't know. Something in that sense. I think it'd be kind of cool. How about you, Johnny?
Star Trek Bridge Crew on the VR. You can play with up to 4 people.
That's what he
Oh,
plays.
see?
I haven't played it in a long
That.
time. I didn't know
That's
you
what he
played
likes
that.
to play.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Oh, I love that game. I'm not very good though. I haven't. You know, you need a
But
good
it's in
team,
space?
Mike. Yeah. I mean, what's cool about it is, let's say you don't have VR, you can still play the game in 2D or on a regular monitor, and then you can have one person on VR, another person on a regular computer or whatever. It's cross-play, so you can have 4 people. Only one person has VR, but you can still play all together on the bridge, on the ship.
You are the Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
What's the name of it? Oh my god.
Star Trek Bridge Crew.
What do you play it on,
the
Johnny?
PSVR.
Oh, you play it on PSVR?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got to play
I
sometime.
have a video of the
Oh,
board
you
kicking my
two
butt.
should play. You should play. I want to watch both of you.
All right. Maybe we'll stream it.
You know what?
Yeah.
I am constantly fascinated by how quick my kids pick up stuff. All of my kids, they're able to just pick up something, and they play around with it. But you know what? Like when I learn something, I learn how to do it, and then I don't want to experiment. But my kids experiment, and they figure things out so quickly. It gives me hope to see how much better they are with technology. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a learned behavior. They see, they learn what they see. They get it from you.
Right.
So
That's
their
right.
curiosity.
It's because
I
your
did.
grandma had a
That's
console at her
right.
house.
It's all me. It's all me.
It's
But
all you.
I
No,
definitely
it's-
think VR is going to be a future for gaming, as well as Roblox, stuff like Roblox that really allows people to build things
Mhm.
and to,
Right.
I would say, clone, but you know, everyone steals from everybody. Okay, let's be honest about things. But there is a game, I can't think of the name of it, but it's kind of like PUBG, but it's in the PlayStation Network. If you have the VR headset. And it's like a huge social area. It's almost like Facebook if it was in VR. And you can meet with your friends. You can play basketball in the gymnasium. I can't think of the name of it, but
That feels
it's
like
really
one we've
neat.
played before.
Is that like Rec Room or something like that?
Rec room, yeah, rec room. You have a dorm room. You can personalize it. You can meet up with friends, and then you can all run and play one of the rec room games together, like laser tag. There's a game just like PUBG. You jump out of the airplane in VR and you fly down, and
Oh, wow. I didn't even know
Oh,
that.
cool.
and with the VR you have the little it's like the Wii controller kind of,
Yeah.
but it has it's like your virtual hands basically in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played that.
I when I first played that, I was blown away by it because it's like Facebook in VR, but you can play games together and you're right there with each other.
Yeah.
Nice.
It
First
is.
time I played VR, I almost fell.
But that's how you know it's good. Okay, so to be honest, it's a young person's thing. I play for 20 minutes and I'm I'm done. Like
It's exercise.
I'm so exhausted, right?
It's hard.
Mentally, physically. You know what I mean? So my kids can go for an hour, hours at a time, but like me, and like 20, 30 minutes, that's all I can handle really for VR. It's a young person's thing. So I'm willing to admit that I'm not up to the challenge.
Yeah.
I did
it's
Beat
definitely not
Saber.
for everybody for either. So yeah.
You
I'll
know,
tell
it's
you
going to be
because-
part of the future, though, definitely.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So the first time I put on VR glasses, I don't know what game it was. It was all in game, or in-app games. Put on these Lenovo goggles, and the game that I was playing was the roller coaster. I'm motion sickness
Oh, heck
to
no.
begin with. So why on
No.
earth did I choose a roller coaster? Don't ask me. I sat there next to Santa Claus, okay? And I'm waving to him, and he's not even looking. I'm like, wow, God, rude. Hello. So we go through this this roller coaster, and we go all the way to the very top, and then come to
You
find out
feel
that
it. It's so weird.
yeah, I totally did. And then the tracks were unfinished, so we totally fell to our death.
Oh no.
And I looked at Santa Claus and I go, "You picked the wrong track."
Dang.
Dang,
Santa
I
Claus.
played it. I played it, and it was like a city. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a city, and I played it. Somebody brought it to our house, and they're like, "Go behind you and walk into this elevator and go all the way up to the top floor." And then when the elevator opens,
Is it a plank?
it's literally just a little plank.
I've seen.
And they're like, walk on the plank. And I'm like, okay.
What kind of
And I'm, like,
fraternity
walking-
hazing is
And
this?
he's like, jump. And I was like, what do you mean jump? And he's like, just jump. And I jumped, and I literally almost fell because even though you're not actually jumping, right, or you're not, but watching it, you're falling and you're just seeing everything just like go up,
Tricks your brain.
and you look down and everything's
Wow.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was just like, oh, like I lost my balance for a minute
Yeah.
because you really do feel like you're
Your brain
actually
interprets it
jumping.
as real. It's,
And if you have the
it's your brain
headphones
can't
in,
tell
then
the difference.
the sound is like
Exactly.
Right.
immersive.
Sometimes you feel it in your
It's-
stomach, even
Right.
just because.
Just being on the stupid roller coaster, I'm like, I'm sick to my stomach. What? And I'm
Well-
just here. People on the outside are probably just seeing me, my body go like this.
Wrong with her?
I don't
Wrong
know.
with her?
Have you guys
I mean-
played the game Rush of Blood on the PlayStation VR? Well,
That is the best PlayStation VR game.
I have to agree.
That one and Firewall 0 Hour is really good.
Okay.
Firewall 0 Hour is so realistic that you'll get scared, think it's real. Like it's like Counter-Strike. It's like Valorant,
Yeah.
but in VR. That's
We got to play
0
that
hour.
together
Wow.
too sometime, Johnny.
Yeah.
But the thing about the reason why I like Rush of Blood so much is because it's basically a roller coaster, but it's like a roller coaster horror, where they'll have like demonic clowns attack you, and you have guns, right?
It's kind of like the Toy Story ride in Disneyland,
Right,
Where
where
you go around the
You
dark
have
ride
guns and you
like,
can shoot.
yeah,
It's like an alley, but a shooting alley. But you're also on a roller coaster, and I just wish they would just make more games like that right now, because that seems to work the best. Because
Because that's the one that made Until Dawn. Right?
Yeah, the people
Yeah,
that
it's
made
a
Rush of
sequel
Blood
to
were the
Until
ones
Dawn.
that made Until Dawn. Yeah,
Which has a game coming out, right? A newer one?
yes, the next Until Dawn I think should be coming
Yeah,
out soon,
I
or
wanna
one of the
play.
games in that series.
I want to play.
But what was I saying? Oh, so the reason why I like that so much is because one, like, VR can only be immersive if it feels real, and when you have to like walk around, you're not walking around because you're sitting or you're standing.
Right.
But in Rush of Blood, these roller coaster ones, you're sitting just like you would be in a roller coaster, and you're looking around, and that's all you really have to focus on is looking around and then aiming the sticks to shoot and stuff like that. And so yeah, I wish they would, like, if they just made more games like that right now, I would be all over that. But I don't know.
I know walking around the city, I kept hitting the wall, hitting my couch.
Yeah.
And there's like a red barrier, right? Like you see like the lights, but by that time I was already hitting whatever it was that I hit. And so it was like, man, I was like, this is kind of difficult, and you got to have a good amount of space, in your
Yeah.
house, for some of these games.
That's the worst part about
and we
VR. You have to move everything around so you have,
Yeah.
you don't
Right.
hit anything.
Right. But I think it's pretty cool how it like detects, or you do something with the settings, I think is what the guy did that brought it over, and it like detects where everything is, where your walls are, where your furniture is, where, so that when you are playing, you can see that barrier and like, wait, you got, kind of stop yourself so that you don't hit the wall or you don't hit the couch. So
Right.
I think that's pretty cool how they did that. But I guess it was just me. I kept hitting it anyway. I kept hitting everything in my path.
Honorable mention I want to mention is Job Simulator is freaking awesome. My kids love it.
It's a
I love
VR?
it.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, it's VR. So you're in the future, and the robots let you choose a job. So it's like an archive. This is when people used to still work. This is what they would do. And you pick, you want to be like a 7-Eleven clerk, a chef, a car mechanic, or an office worker. And you actually work the day in that, and it's all in VR. It's really neat. And it
That's
really
cool.
teaches people, like, especially if my kids ever want to be like a chef or something, how to time manage, how to get the ingredients and make something out of it. Same thing with the auto mechanic, fixing the car, turning the car around, jacking it up. It's really neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We want to get a VR, but I know it's a little expensive.
Oh yeah. They are.
And that's the thing is, like, hopefully it's already starting to get more accessible.
Yeah, and affordable.
But it seems like that's definitely the shift. That's the direction we're going, is that it'll be more affordable, more accessible for people that in the way that we're playing Valorant, Overwatch, or Jackbox together, that more things that are virtual will be done in the same way, maybe, somehow.
Right. I'm excited to see what the future holds. I think it's going to be, it's going to be welcoming, and at the same time kind of like...
Maybe they'll develop smell.
I was just thinking about that. Oh my God. Imagine if they added...
I'll pass on that one.
Pass gas?
I have
No.
boys. I don't need any other.
No, but I mean, think about it. Let's say you're like in a game and you're like in a candy store and you can get like a whiff of like the candy store. Or,
I mean, that technology.
Or you're in a library and you get the whiff of like the old book smell. I don't know. Like
That sort of exists already, actually. If you go to like these 4D rides,
that's
like,
true. That's true.
Like there's a Shrek one, or there's a Mass Effect one at California's Great America, where they landed on a dirt planet, a desert planet, and you can smell the dirt and the dust as they land, and then they spray you with water and stuff like that.
If you put it on your VR, and then it's like with water, and I just like spray you.
True. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or
Shrek 4D, right? Shrek 4D.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe they'll do something with VR, but then it also has some kind of a smell thing. Who knows?
Maybe.
For now, we'll have to create that part of it when we play.
Just hold up like little things of essential oils.
Like
different places.
It's essential oils, hilarious. That's so
Well, I think we have done a pretty good, thorough job of going into the past and the present and looking into the future with gaming. I mean, we could talk about this for hours because there's so much to it, and so much like just VR or streaming. And definitely, hopefully in our next mixed talks, we can talk about those kinds of things more. Also, for those who are in our chat, thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing your comments and your memories. And let us know what you guys want to hear us talk about next time. Again, Mixed Talk is about things that are relevant in pop culture, that also have some nostalgia to them. And before we talked about mixtapes and music, and now we've talked about gaming. So this can kind of go into different topics as we continue on. Before we wrap up, I also did want to promote the Friends and Family Talent Showcase one more time. DJB,
Oh,
if you
sure.
want to pull up that slide. It's going to be on Saturday, April 10th, Sunday, April 11th. It's all on Annie Talks' Discord. You can sign up using the Google form. And basically, if you want to showcase any kind of talent or creative arts expression, unfortunately there is no golden buzzer and Simon Cowell will not be in attendance to judge you. But it's still going to be a good time of music and karaoke and spoken word, and I don't know if maybe someone will hook up their VR and do some kind of immersive.
We welcome just dancers. We welcome, actors and with their monologues, whatever. Please sign up. Would love to see your talent.
Yeah. And with that said, I want to say a big thank you to our panel, JohnnyFrickinRico, Wifeylovesnerd, Annie Talks, for DJB for hosting the stream today. Again, shout out to everybody in chat. We appreciate you, and we're all gamers in some way or another.
Right.
And we want to continue to learn and to experience what gaming has to offer us in the future. And don't forget to follow us on our Twitch channels. DGB, if you want to drop those in the chat, follow all of us. We're all on Twitch. We're all on different social medias as well. We already plugged in the Family and Friends talent show. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to plug, their socials or any other creative endeavors or any shout outs before we get the cane and pull you away?
I'll mention that on Monday I'm going to be a part of Solar Raven's Real Talk regarding the current rise in Asian violence. And I think that that's an important thing to discuss. And so please support that on Raven's channel this coming Monday. So I will not have a stream on Monday afternoon.
Nice.
So check that out.
I'd like to add to that too. I know that there's some talk with a few of us, Voodoo including, who's in the chat, and maybe one other person. We are also going to be hosting an awareness 24-hour stream to raise awareness for stopping Asian hate acts and such. So it's a real thing, you guys. And I can't help but to think of like my own family. I have an elderly mother. God forbid something happened where if she were to walk out to do her grocery shopping or her medicine picking up and such, we don't want any of that to happen. So support everybody, support one another, and be kind to one another. Be kind to one another. We're all on this earth together. We're all coexisting. So let's learn to all get along. Right.
All right. Well, I think that should do it for our second Mix Talk. It's only been our second Mix Talk.
I know.
Which is amazing.
Feels like we've been together forever.
Right? A long time.
Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you guys for hosting, DJ and Rizaline.
Yeah, thank you guys
thankful.
for joining. Thank you, JohnnyFrickinRico, Wifeylovesnerd, Annie Talks. Can I also get a round of applause for Rizaline Beatrice for moderating the discussion today? All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. Illusion, Crazy Pac-Man, Voodoo, Christian, Hello Kitty Senpai, Craftier, everybody. I can't mention everyone, but thank you guys all for joining, being part of the discussion. We're going to raid now. So if you can copy and paste that raid call. We are going to raid Night Blue Shade. I believe it's her birthday today, so please go say what's up and tell her happy birthday. So, all right, so we're gonna raid, and I will see you guys on Raven's Real Talk on Monday. And again, please be sure to sign up for the Friends and Family Talent Show on Any Talks' channel. All right, guys? Catch you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.